Around when the high-flying sun slowly started to dip into the shadow. The silver coupe, speeding along the tollway. Before long, the Katsuragawa parking area. A short break. A change of pace. Want to stop at the next rest area too? What's wrong? I see. And that probably wasn't unreasonable. She'd been pretty energetic a while back, and that was taxing on patients as sick as we were. Then I'll go buy something for you. I'll be back in a second. I rushed over to the snack stand and picked up a few things no different from the standard convenience store fare. Here, a Bakari sweat and rice balls and potato chips. Her response was the same as ever, but she didn't start eating at all. Under her usual circumstances, she'd already torn into the potato chips by now. Are you okay? Could it be that you're not feeling so well? I see. So she was out. I've been scared of that. Well, yes, when we escaped from the hospital, it was obvious it was going to happen. To be clear, it wasn't as if we were intentionally leaving meds behind. But I hadn't even thought about it up until now. I hadn't even had the senses to think about it. When did you run out? So you've been off them for 24 hours pretty soon. Doctors have told me that I could go on without my meds for 2 days or so. Maybe she was the same way. And when I thought about it, it had been 8 days already since we left the hospital. And given the amount of meds I'd brought with me, I could see the end of the line coming into view. Just what was I supposed to do? Yeah, I know. You don't want to be at home either. The silver coupe in motion once again. Eventually, I got off the tollway at the next exit. I didn't know how this was going to change things, but it wasn't as if staying on the tollway was going to help. I headed into an urban area from the Wan tollway exit. And I looked for a pharmacy attached to a large hospital, not to a private small clinic. Probably it would have been best just to go to the hospital. And for any normal patient that would have been obvious. But we were inhabitants of the 7th floor. The ID bracelets around our wrists were white, not blue. And we were escapees from the 7th floor at that. I circled around the neighborhood as I had those thoughts in my mind. Probably, we'd be able to find what we needed at a pharmacy near a large hospital. Found it. A university hospital at a major intersection, and a couple of pharmacies clustered next to it. Figured this was as good a spot as any as it got and stopped the car in a vacant lot. Hey, give me your medication bag. She handed the bag over to me with a curious look on her face. I looked into that bag and took out the medication listed therein. This was just what I needed. Alright, I'll be right back. Leaving her in the car, I ran towards a nearby pharmacy. The automatic doors slid open as I walked in, and I headed directly for the counter. Welcome. A middle-aged man came to the counter to greet me, probably a pharmacist given his white coat. Could I have these drugs, please? Yes, of course, just a moment. The medication list that I had given him, he retreated into the interior of the pharmacy. Probably this was a pharmacy affiliated with the hospital, not just your standard mom-and-pop outfit. I got my meds dispensed from places just like this back when I was attending outpatient clinics. After all, it was right next to the hospital, so this is a place should have all the meds we needed. Thank you for waiting, here we are. The pharmacist had come back after a short time. He was holding 2 plastic bags, each of them full of medication bottles. With that amount, we'd be fine for now. This would probably last her for a week or so. And when I took out my wallet from my pocket... Oh, may I see your prescription? Prescription? Yes, as these are prescription medications. Your doctor did give you one, yes? I'd forgotten about this. These were no ordinary medications, so I couldn't just waltz in and buy them. Is something the matter? Oh, well... As I stammered and stuttered, the pharmacist looked on with suspicion. Wait, that's... And then he noticed a white ID bracelet on my wrist, the letters inscribed on it. My name, my blood type, and the name of the hospital. Whip. Oh. The medication that he left on the counter, I swiped them up all at once. Hey, stop right there! He shot at me from across the counter, but that was to my back. I had already started sprinting. Only 5 meters to the door. My legs were weak, I was wobbly, but I kept running nonetheless. And when I was about to sprint over the slowly opening door of the pharmacy, just then... Ow, damn. My senses whited out for a second. I hit my head on the edge of the automatic door so hard that apparently the glass on it had shattered. Dizzy, almost synoptical, I forced to open the half-closed door with my hands. And then I broke off into a dead sprint. I did not once let go of those medications. I was so out of breath that I felt like fainting. Only a few more meters to the car, but it felt much longer. Nobody was giving chase to me, it seemed, but I didn't have the time to be looking back towards me anyway. Because if I had got caught, then what would happen to her? Would she wait for my return forever alone in the car? I ran for dear life with those feelings at heart. Staggering, short of breath, saddened that this was all the strength I had. I collapsed in the driver's seat and floored the pedals. I was forced to realize that I was even weaker than I was at the pachinko parlor. And when I checked myself in the rearview mirror, there was blood on my forehead, maybe from a glass shard. Well, hopefully the bleeding will stop soon enough. I applied pressure with a tissue as I drove. Yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry about it, it's nothing. I waved my hand to tell her not to worry as she looked at me with concern. And then I handed over the medications that I had tightly clutched in my left hand. Here, take your meds. For now, we would be fine. Those meds will last me for maybe a week. But what were we going to do when that ran out? I managed to get by pretty well today, but it was obvious that I was losing strength daily. We originally had no plan or destination, and you could not feel any fear of losing something that you did not already have. But things were a little different now. Purpose had been born, and so a fear of losing that purpose had also been born. January 29th. A painfully clear day, the empty expanses of high heavens of winter above us. Back on the expressway. By now we had passed from this Suda junction onto the Hiroshima road. Where are we going next? Got it. To the Sanyo Expressway. The silver coupe, moving accordingly to her navigation. By now, on the roadside distant indicators, every so often the words Awaji Island were appearing. We had already come 900 kilometers since we escaped from the 7th floor that day. I never had believed that we would have made it. But our final destination was not far from us now. And soon we could see a large building, or large bridge ahead of us. So this is the Akashi Kaikyo Bridge. Pretty incredible, huh? It was hard to suppress a triumph feeling as if we could drive across the ocean on its expanse. After we'd driven along for a while, there were people stopping at the roadside here and there en route to the bridge. Probably tourists or something, seeing as if they were taking pictures and stuff. And just like those people, I stopped the car on the shoulder of the road. Yeah, if it's just for a little while, it'll be okay. And as far as the eye could see, there were no other cars that had done the same. Hey, come on, let's get some fresh air. It's probably an awesome view. She was still a little reluctant, but she got out of the car with me anyway. In the midst of the strong cold winds atop the bridge. This is colder than I thought it would be. It was all too much for us, since we had never really gotten out of the car. And in the stark contrast to us, there were two people who seemed to be a couple not far from us. Looked like they were taking souvenir photos, their happy voices carried all the way over to us. And when I looked around those two, I saw lots of families and tourist groups taking photos too. Souvenir photos, huh? Fair enough, one was supposed to take them at places like this. Come to think of it. Yeah, wait for a second. There was a camera in here somewhere. When I inspected the car interior the first time around, I saw a cheap disposable camera somewhere, I remembered. Still had a few shots left in it, if memory served. Having found the camera, I checked the film indicator. Oh good, still 2 shots left. Sorry for the wait. Come on, I'll take a picture of you. A photo. A photo. Might as well, you know? Oh come on, don't be like that. Strike a pose or something. And I held the camera towards her as I said this. Come on, look a little happy, won't you? But as if she was embarrassed, even when she turned to me, she still had a little sour look on her face and nothing more. But it could well have been that even if she looked that way, she was trying her best to smile for me right now. With this at heart, I was about to take a picture of her when... Excuse me, could we ask you to take a picture? Oh yes, of course. 2 people who look like a couple coming toward us holding a camera. Then I'll take the picture now. Please do. They stood close to each other happily and flashed brilliant smiles. I centered those 2 in the viewfinder and snapped a photo. Thank you very much. And now we'll take a photo of you 2. Oh, no, you're using this camera, right? Before I could answer, he'd taken my camera. No, it was more like he plucked it out of my hand. Probably wanted to get it over with as soon as possible, which is why he took the camera and ignored our hesitation. Alright, you 2, get closer. At those words, I stepped a little closer to her body. And with her usual lack of expression, she helplessly stepped a little closer to me. Shouldn't you be posing a bit more? This meddlesome boyfriend character and his crazy demands, his girlfriend standing to the side looking a little apologetic, and telling myself that I had no other choice. I slowly put my arm around her shoulder. The first time I'd ever touched her. The feeling of her childlike clothing and her waist-length hair under my hand. I couldn't see her face now that I was looking straight to the camera. But maybe, just maybe, she was gracing me with that never-before-seen shy, bashful, slightly sour look. Okay, I'm taking the picture now. Their business over, the couple started heading back to their car. And we were doing the same. My girlfriend, huh? Pretty bad misunderstanding, eh? Or could it be that we look that way to others? My words, spoken lightly and in jest. And enjoying myself for some reason, I kept speaking to her in that tone. What do you... Satsumi, what do you think? And with those words as usual, she turned back to look out the window. And just as usual, I couldn't see what kind of facial expression she was wearing. But I could tell that she wasn't looking far into the distance. She was turning away because I was making her bashful. January 29th, Sumoto Interchange. The spacious sky above our heads, spreading out into the distance with wintry clarity. Arrival at the Sumoto Interchange not far from that bridge, exiting off the expressway back onto the normal highways. So we finally made it. The odometer indicated that we'd come over 900 kilometers ever since the day we escaped from the 7th floor. We arrived at last at the destination that we hadn't even cared about at the onset. Then we do go from here?
何?
South. South. Got it. Took the route per her instructions. But in truth, even I knew where to go at this point. I could see the sign at the tourist information center from here. But without a second thought, I obeyed her navigational instructions. This is the way it had to be, and it could not be any other way. How was it that I came to think that way? Alrighty guys, well that was Chapter 6 Echo. I'm glad that we got both our medications because we don't want anybody getting sick. And I'm glad that we're almost at Awaji Island. But next episode's Narcissu. Could possibly be the last episode. Last chapter rather. But we'll see that in the next time. And yeah, we'll watch it then. Thanks for watching guys.